Hi, this is DiCarlo, and you are tuned in to All Flavors Radio with Wimbo and Natural Lily on the Drive Time Show from 6 p.m. to 8. Don't be late.
You're listening to the Drive Time Show on allflavorsradio.com. Yeah, alright.
I already know what giving up feels like. I want to see what happens if I don't.
You pleasant good evening. Ooh, sounds of Funkadelic. One Nation, Under a Groove. So how are you all doing out there, all flavours land? I am Wimbo77.
And I'm Naturally Lily. Good evening.
Oh, you just made it, babe.
Yeah.
It's getting tough. It's really does. It's very hard when you're working and you've got to try and get back here in the studio, and you work the other side of London as well, like north-south divide, right?
Yeah, and I've literally just got my voice back because I've not really had a voice today.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's just sometimes how you feel ups and downs, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just, I think, you know, when you get to that exhaustion point, it's like, oh.
Are you off tomorrow, though?
Yeah.
Lovely.
And it's school holiday. I think other parents don't look forward to the school holidays, but I really do.
I love the school holidays. You get time to get to know the kids more, spend time.
Tomorrow we can just curl up in bed
yeah.
for the first couple of hours, and then we can get on with our day.
Late nights and early mornings, right?
Yes.
Awesome. And it was such a beautiful day in London today.
Yeah, it really was.
I don't know what the highs were, but very, very hot. I keep hearing people say, oh, it's too hot, you know.
No.
It's not too hot because we don't get this often, and at the moment, when it comes to travel, you know, it's
can't go anywhere.
Exactly.
So you make the most of it.
Exactly. I'm just going to shut this window. Yeah, so you can't go anywhere really. So if you got the sunshine, I think the beaches were quite packed out over the start
the
end.
weekend. Yeah. I remember a couple of weeks ago we went to go to Camber Sands beach, and we got there. It was a 2-hour drive.
Wow. Got
all the way there, and there was police block at the end of the road. So we thought, okay, we'll find another way, and we drove off and come back, drove off and come back, drove off and come back, and said, is there not another way to get to the beach, because we couldn't find another route? No, it's closed.
Oh no, why?
Because there was too many people.
Oh, damn.
Like, oh my goodness.
2 hours. Did you find another part of the coast?
No, we couldn't. They had blocked it all off. They'd literally blocked it all off. So the one entry into that beach was blocked off, and then the next entry was like another 1.5 hour drive down the road. Wow. So we went and had something to eat on this little, almost like the side of the river, but the river was dried out. But it was fine. We enjoyed the drive.
Wow.
We enjoyed the drive.
Well, I was reading today about the COVID vaccine passports, and that you're going to need one to get into a nightclub. So that means that they're gunning for the young people. Because
they're the ones that are supposedly passing it around, isn't it?
Yeah, but I didn't hear them talking about COVID passport at World Cup. Or at football matches.
Mid-year.
And they did do
60,000 people
come on.
in Wembley, and obviously people at Trafalgar Square, in central London. Yeah.
You can't control that stuff. How?
One rule for one and another rule for another.
Not right.
But apparently our Boris is isolating at the moment, because someone in there has gotten. He hasn't, but I think someone in there, wherever that is, tested positive. So
there's quite a few little people testing positive at the minute, because
there is we're going towards another wave.
Let's just watch this space, because you know we don't talk about the C word too much on this show, and there's so much more other important things to be really discussing, and that's the one thing people have been talking about for the last 1.5 years, and it's just like, will it ever end? Will it cease? Yeah,
I hope so. It's getting a bit. It's I'm just over it.
So over it.
You know, it's one of those things where you can't help but talk. Like we couldn't help but talk about the football. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You couldn't help but talk about it. You can't help but talk about COVID. As much as we don't like Lady Rona, we're forced to be in her presence. So, yeah,
it's madness. Yeah. And the thing is, the world's just not. It's not the same world that we were in 2 years ago. It's a totally different world that we're in now. I guess we just have to grasp it, but not feel that everything mandatory actually means that you have a choice in these matters. In a lot of matters, we do have choice because we are humans and we do have human rights. So if there are things that we feel uncomfortable about or that we don't want to be involved in, then we have every right to speak up about these things. Or to say no. There's nothing wrong with saying no.
And we've got to remember as well that every there's always change.
Yeah.
As time passes, there's always change. What we are like now is completely different to what it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
Very true.
So there's always change, whether it's a forceful change that we don't like, or a subtle, gradual change. The metamorphosis always has to happen, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So we just have to kind of sit back and see what is going to come of this.
Yeah. Absolutely, totally in agreement there. So our question for the day, Lily, is should parents be blamed for the crimes committed by their children? So we touched on the policing and the age of the age as to when a young person can be arrested, and the youngest age was 10. So I just thought that we'd look into perhaps should parents be blamed for the crimes committed by their children, and we'll just kind of look a little bit more in depth about it. But our national day today, well, I think we're doing a national week, but happy Eid al, is it Adha?
Eid al-Adha, it's Eid Mubarak.
Is it Eid Mubarak
You say Eid
tonight?
Mubarak.
Yeah, so happy Eid to all of you Muslims out there, Nation of Islam. And is it the Muslims?
Oh my goodness, sorry,
Yes.
I keep on hitting the microphone.
Hey, you're very hot. It's hot upstairs, isn't it?
hot,
The heat
yeah.
rises to the top, girl. So the week that we'll be celebrating or are highlighting is Everybody Deserves a Massage Week. You were talking about that last week, weren't you?
Oh my goodness. I really, really, really need a deep massage.
Hey.
A deep tissue massage.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of, on the left side, I think maybe I'm sleeping funny, but really bad back pain and neck pain. Everyone needs a massage. I think you should get them every couple of months, actually.
Yeah.
I've never had one.
Oh, it's lovely if it's done by the right person.
Yeah.
So I'm funny with people touching my body anyway.
Same,
I had one fantastic, really, really good massage. It's a fellow at Tottenham Sports Centre, actually.
Okay.
And deep tissue, fantastic. Just because it's a detoxifier as well.
Yeah.
Because you're breaking down all of, if you've got knots and stuff, you're breaking down all of that build up. And then relaxing the muscles, and it goes back. I mean, as far as the history of it is that people from ancient cultures believed in the benefits of a good massage. Egyptian tombs have paintings on the walls of people getting a massage, as well as some of the earliest Chinese texts that are called the Yellow Emperor's Classic Books on Internal Medicine, and they date back as far as 2700 BC.
Wow.
But it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Because it's almost like if you're going to cleanse the inside.
Yeah.
I know it's to do with energy as well. It's the dispelling of energy. I've seen a lot of people when they give a massage, they flick. They massage and flick. And they say you should do it with, what's it called? You know, the stones.
Okay, the hot heat stones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to draw out that, like you were saying, the toxins and stuff. But I thought it was interesting when you look at the timeline. Because it's not just massage. A lot of people think that the massage therapy is just about the pressing of the muscles, but it seems that here there's different forms of medicine when it comes to massage. There's acupuncture, acupressure and herbology.
So all that's massage then?
Well, I don't think it's all massage, but it all comes under that natural healing umbrella. And then the timeline, if I can find it, it was saying that the Egyptians pioneered reflexology.
Okay.
And like you said, this was back in 2500 BC, where they had paintings of ancient Egyptians practicing massage as part of their medical tradition. So it is a natural healer, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is a natural healer. I'm one of those people that don't like to be talked to while I'm getting a massage.
I just want the silence,
yeah,
and the nice scents from the oils that they use, and the candles, I love the nice mellow music that they use in the background, just to make you just get into the flow of things. You know? That is lovely. And what they were saying as well around or since 3000 BC that there's records from the massage therapy in India as well, and it's according to the Sanskrit. So the Ayurveda Sanskrit word that translates to life health or life science. So there's a big science, it looks like, that goes behind the whole idea of massage. And I guess we've given it a name. However, you know, when we just naturally, if we feel knotted up, we say, oh, just give us a rub there or give us a rub there. Or we rub ourselves, don't we, sometimes? We can give ourselves that self-massage. So it's something that's actually quite natural. Yeah, it is. It would be natural, wouldn't it? And, along with the herbal remedies and the pressure points and things like that. Yeah. Yes, it's there to heal. Absolutely. So it says everybody deserves a massage week. It runs from the 18th till the 23rd of July. So that's why we've highlighted it. And there's a whole history behind it, as we've just touched on some of the history. But what about the facts, Leash? So fun facts about massage. Number 1, massages in Roman times. Julius Caesar would use massage to treat his epilepsy. Oh. He used a daily ritual that included him being pinched all over to prevent epileptic attacks. That's interesting. I don't know how successful that would be. That would be quite interesting, actually. Epilepsy, pinched all over, because epilepsy, it's an overload, isn't it? No, it's you know, like the electrical... Well, there's different types of seizures, but the electrical impulses in your brain, in your neurological system, they're disturbed. That's the best way I could describe it. They're off balance, sort of thing. It's quite interesting. I didn't even know that Julius Caesar had epilepsy, for one. Neither did I. And so pinching, I don't know. Never heard of that kind of massage. Number 2, fun fact about massages is that meat cleaver massage in Taiwan. So Taiwanese people believe being tapped by the sharp end of a meat cleaver, which is rubbed with medicine, is a form of therapy and can cure many illnesses. Is the sharp end penetrating the skin? No idea. With the medicine going into the body, because then, that would make sense. Unless it scrubs the body, as opposed to cuts the body. Takes that bit of... Like a layer, you know. Off. So you're kind of rubbing into the pores, but maybe not cutting. Yeah. And did you know that you can do this with nettles? Now, what you do... Have you ever seen in a sauna where they get a bunch of nettles and they beat a person on the back with it? I could never. The thought of that makes me scared. What it does, because is it your liver or your kidneys are in the back? Right. So when you tap it with the nettle, it's meant to open the pores and release stress and energy. Yeah, or not, release the stress and the toxins. But you do that with nettle leaves. And I've seen that. Because nettle's good for you anyway. It's good to drink. Because when you tap the body, the pins in the nettles, they just disturb, isn't it? It's like a sting, and then it releases. But then wouldn't your back be really itchy afterwards, or do they wipe it with like the leaf afterwards? Well, they don't, because it's like an exfoliant, or it's your sweat will allow, because they don't rub it with a dock leaf after.
That's what I was
to rub it with a dock leaf.
Dock leaf.
Yeah, no.
Dock leaf.
But you hit it and then it just releases all the toxins out. So
that's interesting.
Yeah. Babies need massages, Lee.
I love baby massage. Now, it says a study showed low birth weight babies who received a massage had 45% weight gain over those who did not, which is very interesting. I find that fact interesting. But also, I found baby massage just helps to relax the baby.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, that's the stress that may come with being a new mother. It soothes you as well, just sitting there massaging the baby, putting the oils on, just having that you and Bubba time. It calms the baby down, but it also can relieve a bit of your stress as well, because it's a moment where you just take 10-15 minutes out just to
chill,
calm,
chill and relax.
Yeah.
And baby elephants as massage practitioners. So baby elephants, pachyderms, perform pressure massage for tourists at public beaches in Thailand. Now, I don't know if I'd want a baby elephant standing on my back.
I have seen this and I think it's crazy, but yeah.
Wow. It must be quite a heavy touch, but it's quite flat. I don't know, because I've never been massaged by an elephant. As well as another fun fact is massage feels so good for a reason. And there are approximately 5 million touch receptors in our skin, so 3,000 of these are in our fingertips.
So does that mean the person giving the massage, it's good for them?
Well, not particularly, but maybe the receptors that are, I don't know, touch. Can anyone out there tell us, listeners, do you know a lot on when it comes to massage and the benefits of it and why the 3,000 receptors in someone's fingers will help? Because normally you got to shake off, because when you massage you shake off that energy that's coming from the other person, otherwise you become all knotted up and tight and so forth. So I wonder what all that is about. But it is National Let's Have a Massage Week, or Everybody Deserves a Massage Week, and we know that massage is therapeutic, and there are health benefits towards massage as well. So, massage, sorry, I have to put my teeth back in. And so there are benefits to it, and everyone deserves one. So does anyone out there know of any good massage therapist or anyone that does massage? If you do, let us know. 07895 134 713. That's 07895 134 713. So you were saying you wanted you needed a massage.
I do, but I need someone that I don't know to do it, because I don't want to talk.
Yeah.
But the first thing to do in Celebrate a Massage Week is to pamper yourself with a massage.
There you go.
So it says, this week, splurge and book yourself an appointment with a massage therapist. As part of the celebration, participating spas and massage therapists offer discounts. Oh, didn't know that. And specials on various treatments throughout the week.
Okay.
Learn more about services in your local clinics and therapists offer, and take them up on it. If you've never been for a massage, take your time and ease into it. See, I was going to get a deep tissue. Maybe that's not the greatest idea.
It does hurt. Deep tissue massage hurts.
Does it?
Yeah. But then you feel great afterwards.
But I don't want it to hurt. I don't like pain.
Yeah, but what's the point then? You've got to feel some form of pressure to alleviate the pressure.
That makes no sense.
You've got to feel the pressure to ease. How's a diamond made, Lily?
I know.
Pressure.
Diamond in the rough.
Pressure. So yeah. Oh, Joy McKay says complimentary therapy. Yes, please. So massage is a complimentary therapy.
Okay.
Please elaborate.
Yeah.
But we do know it's complimentary. It's something that's it's something extra
On
from
top of
all the other
something else.
therapies that you make.
Right.
And even the oils and all those kind of things that you use.
That adds to the experience.
To the experience, and to how it alleviates the stress and so forth.
Okay.
Or the pain that you may feel in the body, the toxins out. So everybody deserves a massage.
Yes, we do.
We do. So Lily, going in on that, we're speaking of today in history, And you noticed at the top of the show we did play that One Nation Under a Groove done by Funkadelic, and it's because it's George Clinton. I think it's his birthday. He's known for his singing songs, writing music, and composing skills. In fact, he is the principal creator of P-Funk before launching into his solo career during the 80s. He's a mastermind behind the bands Funkadelic and Parliament. So you heard the song playing when you came in, and everyone kind of knows that One Nation Under a Groove. Do you recall it?
I can't remember the song you was
One
playing.
Nation Under a Groove. Okay.
You're going to have to play it for me again
Yeah,
afterwards.
but Knee Deep, Knee Deep, as well as Flashlight. Those are some of the
I
big
know the songs, I don't know the names.
Okay, well, Funkadelic, yes. Mind you, it says he was born on July 22nd, but it's the 20th today, isn't it?
Yes, it's the 20th. So it's his Earth Week.
Earth Week. So we're going into the weeks this week then. And he was born in Kannapolis. Where is that? Kannapolis.
New Jersey.
Okay.
Oh, no. He grew up in Plainfield, New Jersey, and then settled in Florida. I don't know where Kannapolis is, actually.
Someone could let us know out there, listeners. Kannapolis. I've never heard. I've heard of Minneapolis.
Maybe it's the same. I'm not even going to guess. I don't even know. I don't know. But it said that during the time Clinton worked in a barber salon in his teenage years, he formed a local band, the Parliaments, and he was inspired by the renowned Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers. As the years passed, he became the staff songwriter for Motown. Wow.
I didn't know that.
That's
He's
interesting.
the staff writer for Motown. Makes sense, though.
And that's when they formed Funkadelic.
Yeah, two great bands, Parliament and Funkadelic. Then I think he stood back from that, and then it was George Clinton.
Okay.
Do you know what he looks like? He's quite outlandish and he's really out there.
I'm going to Google him. But does this say these bands... So, under Clinton's supervision, the bands were influenced by musical elements from several legendary artists and bands. Oh, and these included names like Sly, The Family Stone, Jimi Hendrix, Cream, and James Brown. Wow.
Yeah. And their sound was very unique.
Eclectic.
Yes.
I feel like it's an eclectic sound.
Yeah, but it's funk. That's where funk was born.
Okay.
Yeah, so they had these other bands, but I think a lot of other bands around that time started playing like more funk music. And it says they explored different dimensions of the sounds from those influences, the people that influenced them. And so lyricism and technology as well in their music, because at that time I guess the synthesizer was born, all these new different forms of technology came into play, and they were able to utilise that in their music as well.
Okay. He looks very strange.
He's outlandish. They're stage shows.
2 pairs of sunglasses, some colourful hair extensions.
Yeah,
wow.
Their stage shows was something to be... Everyone wanted to go to Funkadelic or Parliament show because they were just so outlandish. And they used to smoke spliffs on the stage. Blow. You know when you put the spliff in your mouth and then you blow it back? They used to do all this kind of stuff on stage. Wow. It was very controversial, the things that they used to do. Then they used to have these spaceships coming down out of space and all that kind of stuff going on. They were way ahead of their time. Wow. And it says that the 70s were dominated by diverse music of Parliament and Funkadelic, with over 40 top chart singles. As soon as his band gained spotlight and success, Clinton began to work on his solo career in the 80s. So
he set his boys up and then he sorted himself out. That's very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
But look at that, over 40 top chart singles. That is a feat within itself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember there's an album when I was a younger child, and it had a cyclops on it and all these giants. I do not know what album this cover was. It was
you
white.
Talking about this before,
and I've been searching for that album. I have no idea what the name of it was, but I'm sure it was Funkadelic, but it doesn't come up in their bibliography.
Okay.
But this album, I don't know who the band was, or it was a funk band. Definitely a funk band, but it had a Cyclops. They sang of Cyclops, like a big giant with one eye on the front of his head. And it was a white album with lots of... It was almost like a cartoon because it was double. You could open the album cover up. Because that was a thing.
That was a record cover. That was a vinyl.
Yeah, because it was only vinyl back in the 70s. CD coming about the 80s, I think. Yeah, CDs coming like first, late 80s. Pardon?
Wasn't tapes first?
Cassettes were before or around the same time as vinyl. But vinyl was probably has been around longer than the cassette tape.
I'm sure that CDs are 90s because I predominantly remember cassette tapes and then CDs.
No, definitely 80s.
What?
Because YouTube, not YouTube, there used to be a program on Channel 4, The Tube, I think it was called. And that's when they used to show different bands and all this stuff, and they presented the CD. I think the CD probably come out around 83, 82, 83, maybe 86. Yeah. It's been out longer than you, darling. The CD's older than you, Lily. But yeah, so their album covers were amazing. Amazing. George Clinton. What year did the CD come out?
1982.
82, there you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's just
new technology.
I mainly remember cassette players, cassette tapes. I don't remember CDs. I only remember having CDs in secondary school and the end of secondary school, and then we had MP3 players, but obviously MP3s were out before then. But I remember being that person that would sit by the radio and press record. And then it would, and then you had to quickly take it out, turn it over, and put it back in to record the other side. That's what I remember. I don't remember CDs.
They took the fun out of bootlegging because now you
can't do that
it's
now.
Very difficult, all the copyright laws and all this kind of stuff. But people used to go out and buy a CD, whereas now no one's buying any music. Or you buy subscriptions now as opposed to going out. But it's not the same as having vinyl and putting that on a record player. And, it's amazing. Or having a CD and putting it in a CD
And that's
player.
why I think that now, before you had them long ding, 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 and you knew, okay, I know what song was coming, by just the first 3 seconds. Now, every single song in the beginning sounds the same, and there is no intro.
Because... You youngsters,
Streaming.
Gen Z.
I'm not a Gen Z.
Okay, Gen Z, they don't have patience.
No, they don't.
When we had vinyl, George Clinton, you would listen to a whole album and the other side.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't just on a CD, you could skip, couldn't you, to the next track.
Yeah.
Whereas on vinyl, you had to be very careful to lift the needle up to get the next line of the next record. And that was a beauty in it all.
But I love that sound as well of changing, when you just, and then you put it on the...
No, that's when you scratch the
Obviously,
record,
you're scratching the record, but I like that sound.
That was the greatness of Funkadelic and Parliament. You get those on vinyl, and the album covers. The art was amazing. You just buy it for the artwork. And some of these albums are quite costly as well now. They're collectibles, definitely. And vinyl is coming back in as well. So look out, watch that space for vinyl. So from 82, Clinton took up music production, and he's done some amazing things. And he's also ended up as far as to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1997. So check George Clinton out and his amazing contribution to the music world.
Yeah, because he's deemed to be one of the most sampled musicians ever.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting. That means I've basically listened to many of his songs and don't even realise it.
There's a song that I'm going to play off during the break, and you'll be shocked. Okay, so that's for you. I'm going to do that during the break. So beautiful people, do stick around, and we'll see y'all in 5. Sounds of the OJs. That one's called The Backstabbers there. And Lily, you thought it was the Angie Stone track initially, right?
Initially, I was waiting for Angie Stone to jump in, but I've heard that song before. Tarantino likes to use quite soulful music in his films.
Yeah. And
I'm sure I've heard that. It's either in Jackie Brown or one of the others.
Okay.
I've heard that track.
So this music is timeless.
It is.
Hence played even that George Clinton, track. That it's timeless. So we can hear someone doing some work next door, guys. Please forgive me, I have no control over that. We're not in a soundproof studio. So we hope it doesn't disturb us too much. So in line with that, we're looking at the word of the day, and that's attenuate. Yeah?
Which means to lessen the amount, force, magnitude, or value of, to weaken.
Attenuate, make thinner or slender.
So whilst I was attenuate.
Yes. To make thinner or slender.
I go to the gym to attenuate my figure.
Okay. Or to become thin, fine, or less.
Is it to make thin or slender? That's what it means.
Force and magnitude. Attenuate. It's like, yeah, should we look at some of the...
It comes from the Latin. Well, it's a combination of the Latin prefix ad, meaning to or toward, and tenuous, meaning thin. It's a pedigree that is in keeping with the English words' current meanings, which all have to do with the literal or metaphorical thinning. So you're literally making it thin, or metaphorically speaking, I'm going to cut down my word count so I can thin out this paper, sort of thing. That's it. Yeah, there we go.
To make it smaller.
Paper.
Yes. Most common in technical contexts, and implies a reduction or weakening of something. I want to reduce and weaken that sound outside. Physical or chemical means. Attenuation. So how can we use it in a sentence?
Fans who attend double-A games this year will see a couple of new rules. During the first half of the season, all infielders must have their feet on the dirt when a pitch is thrown, attenuating the major defensive shifts that have become prevalent in baseball in recent years. I just have that. That made no sense to me. That made absolutely no sense to me.
Oh, the use of computers with their quiet keyboards in place of typewriters greatly attenuated the noise level in the... Okay, so it made the noise lesser. It lessened.
By doing what to the
Right, making them... Do you remember we used to have those big...
Oh, I prefer those keyboards.
They're easier to use.
I like the sound as well.
But can you imagine if you're in an office of how many?
Yeah, it's a bit much.
Right.
So you need to attenuate the noise by lessening the keys.
Yes, the noise level of the office went down. Okay. Yeah? So attenuate. Like we say, building your vocabulary every single day. You can get a word for the day in your inbox every day to grow our vocabulary. It's quite funny that I was reading a book last week, and I came across the word miasma, and I knew exactly what it meant. Yeah. And it was lovely to think, oh my goodness, why did they use that word there? And I understood what the word was, and I didn't have to go and look it up. So it's actually quite good to expand our vocabulary. And the word of the week today is to attenuate. Okay? So moving on, Lewis Hamilton.
Lewis Hamilton was racially abused online after a British Grand Prix win, guys. He won. So not like the whole football team of 11 plus men that did not win the Euro. Lewis Hamilton actually won the British Grand Prix, and he is the only black driver in Formula One, and he has been a vocal anti-racism advocate. And he was racially abused for what reason, I don't even know. And
it's his 8th British Grand Prix victory. So it's like you can't win. If you lose on that side, you lose. And if you win, you still lose. Isn't it? I just thought I'd throw that in there because he's done something really great here. The 8th British Grand Prix victory.
And he was in an accident, wasn't he? It says the seven-time world champion celebrated a record 8th British Grand Prix victory on Sunday at Silverstone after fighting back from a 10-second penalty for a first lap collision that ended up with the title rival Max Verstappen in hospital. So his rival was in hospital because of this collision. He actually got held back, like many of our young
10 seconds
men do.
Yeah, but he still
won.
Beat them at the the pole? Is it what do they call the finishing line? Pole. He still had pole position at the finishing line, and he come his 8th win for Britain.
But yet he was still called a monkey.
I know, it's such a shame. They need to do stuff about this online abuse because it's not getting any easier and to be who we are in the public eye. And it's so sad because he is an advocate. Remember we spoke on Lewis Hamilton last year, didn't we? As regards to
speaking out.
Him speaking out, he wore the T-shirt, didn't he?
Yeah. And then got penalised for that.
Yeah. We just can't win either way, which is quite sad.
Mr. Boris said, as per those hooligans last week, or whenever it was, that they would be banned from future games. However, my thing is, how do you know that they don't just sign up as other people?
Well, they can do that as well.
So then they're not banned from games, because if they wanted to, they will find a way to get there.
I don't think they're that smart, to be honest. And I'm not making an assumption here, but it is my opinion. But I don't think they are.
It's fact.
Yeah, because you've got to have a certain mindset or mind frame to be concentrating on what someone looks like over there, to be concentrating on yourself. So just leave them where they are. Lewis Hamilton, we give you the biggest high five. Well done, Lewis. And keep up the good work, because at the end of the day, like you've made history, and we see this when we go back and look at the historical figures that we look at.
He'll be one of them.
We see them all. That Andrew was it Althea Griffin?
Yeah,
the tennis player, and we've looked at Sojourner Truth. So many people. Even the Justice of Peace last week. What's his name? Tolgurth, was it? I can't remember his name, but so many beautiful people that have gone before, and I'm sure he was fighting within the justice courts, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Overturning all these things as regards to the civil rights movement. And he's done amazing, in fact, in changing legislation and law. So keep on going. Beautiful 3 lions, because they are from Africa. So they said they should have had 3 pigeons on the shirt.
That's what I loved about that. It was the fact that it was another footballer actually, I think he's another footballer, and he said, you realise that the 3 lions are also from Africa.
Absolutely.
But there was a lot of backlash though, not just from black people, about the racism that these young men received. And I'm not going to lie, it was nice to see it. It was nice to see so many people, because that is what the Euros was supposed to do, bring everybody together. And in that split second, whereby the nastiness of the few, but way
it's
too many
minority, things will change, because they are going through Parliament to hopefully change this whole online abuse thing.
I don't think it's going to make a difference.
People will be people, but it's not right. And what if it starts taking to the streets and people feel that they can abuse you to your face? Then what do you do in that situation then?
A man got flung in the river. Another couple were getting stabbed last week. It's happening. That they beat up a little black boy that was recorded on yes, it is raining. English.
Well, I just looked in the mirror there and saw that the rain was coming down. Yeah.
Do you know what that is? That's people's complaints falling back down to the floor.
Yeah. I'm going to enjoy the sunshine, beautiful people, because it won't be around for very long. Well, as we see, it's raining outside now. But yeah, we just, as long as it's brick by brick, person by person, and as long as we are not being in that mindset and that we are elevating and encouraging others, that's where it's got to start. It's got to start with us. And that's what this whole platform, yes, it is a black-run radio station, and I think it's amazing that we have something that's ours, because a lot of the things that have been ours just get taken
away.
Oh no, we give it away. So let's just embrace that. We were talking about Lewis Hamilton and his great achievements, and really just got to big him up, because a black man in the races, come on, that's very expensive sport, you know.
Yeah, it is.
But he managed to get there. And it's his 8th British Grand Prix victory, and it was on home soil. Yet they're still not happy about it. So just continue pressing forward. Whatever endeavours that you are looking towards gaining, keep pressing forwards, and don't worry about what people say. Because if we did worry about what people say, then we wouldn't get anything done. So high five to Lewis Hamilton. Big high five, and just to keep on going. If you're out there trying to do something for yourself, then by all means don't worry about what people have to say. And with that being said, I think we'll just go to a quick break, Leash. All right, so we'll see y'all in 5. And that was the sounds of the Eternal there, featuring Luther Vandross. Oh yeah, the only one. Okay, so Lily.
Yeah.
We were asking the question at the top of the show, should parents be held responsible for the crimes of their children? What's your thoughts on that?
I think this is a difficult question to answer.
Yeah.
Because in some instances, I think, yes, parents should be held responsible. But in some instances, I think some children just are not, or some parents are not able to be responsible for their children's actions. Like, they're not aware of what they've put everything in place to support the children. They're trying their best to raise decent children.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, things that are detrimental to the child, poisonous people infiltrate into that child's life, and it's very difficult to draw children out when you're their parent. They don't want to listen to you.
Yeah, because it comes a point when they don't listen to the parents, they start listening to their peers, or start listening to, like you said, other voices which they feel are reason. But as a parent, this is a parent that's not a bad example, because we have parents that are good examples and parents that are possibly bad examples, and it's very difficult to define the line of. I personally, I was reading the article that we got it from. It was it's an organisation. Let me get the magazine, and it's a really great organisation for young people. They do need lots of donations and stuff on this site. They're called InsideSuccess.co.uk. And it's a great magazine that's written by young people for young people. And this article, it asks a question. It says, there's no secret that teens do break the law, thinking they're basically invincible. And we know that, don't we? Young people think that, oh yeah, no, nothing can touch me. And that we couldn't be furthest from the truth in that sense, because when they engage in things such as underage drinking, vandalism, possession of illegal substances, all of which I'm sure they know is not right, they still pursue possibly a life of that.
My question is, and it was my brother that brought this to my attention the other day when I made a comment about something, and in certain countries where certain things are not seen as taboo, like, you know, alcohol, sex, drugs, things like that are not seen as a taboo, their crime rates are much lower.
Okay.
And it's because they're a lot more open with their children. So the reason this came about was I made a comment about my 6-year-old being taught about the human anatomy in school. And my brother was like, we've taught our son about that already. And he's younger than my oldest.
Right.
By about 4 years. And it made me think, and then they made the comment about in Amsterdam, children are taught about sex in like kindergarten, so nursery, and their underage pregnancy rate and things like that are very, very low. And it's because in those countries, I mean, everyone knows what Amsterdam's known for. In those countries, those things aren't seen as a taboo. They're seen as, this is a part of life.
Yeah,
this
so
is
it's
enjoyable.
there.
It's
Yes,
there, you know.
yeah.
And they understand what it's for, why people do it, and therefore those kind of things are not a problem in those countries. And it made me think, with this question, is it the parents' responsibility? Is it because we try and put our children in a cotton wool, wrap them up in bubble wrap and a cloud, and make everything try and seem so perfect, and they'll learn it when they learn it at that older age? Is that what can sometimes push children to experiment, push children to listen to their peers, and push children to be involved in these criminal activities? Because they haven't had that open, like, not raw, but that conversation with their parents without it seeming like it's a problem.
It's a bit like in France, they allow the youngsters to have a glass of wine.
Yeah, and they've got a very, very low alcoholic rate. Yeah,
because it's part of the culture. Whereas I guess in places like the Western culture, America, UK, New Zealand, that, like you said, things aren't available in that way. We don't sit down and drink wine with your 6-year-old at the table. Maybe you would, I don't know, but so thus it becomes something that's you know, let me try this out, let me try that out, and then it can lead down to, you know, again with peers. If your peers are doing these kind of things, then you're more than likely to follow your peer group. But that's not down to the parents. I don't think it's the parents' fault.
I do think it's down to the parents in that instance, though.
Yeah, but what if when you send them to school, you don't have control over their peer group.
You don't have control over their peer group, but you have control over knowing of having that relationship with your child where they know that there are certain things that are acceptable and certain things that aren't. Like when we grew up, okay, we never really had that sort of relationship where we'd come and tell you everything, but we still had common sense, or we still had an understanding, or maybe it was out of fear, I don't know, that we would do certain things but we wouldn't do others. But
or
then
you just
with
wouldn't say.
No, seriously, we wouldn't. No, but what I'm trying to say is, other friends that I had who were very open with their parents almost never got in trouble. They were not the sort of people that would go and break the law and. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do think it's important to have that relationship where they can have open communication, because let's be honest, when you smother something, the more it fights back. If you hold
it's going to eventually pass out or die.
But if you hold a pillow over someone's face, they start lashing out at you, and obviously the consequence of that is going to be detrimental to them and even you. But initially you are lashing back, you're fighting back.
Yeah.
So if you are mothering a child and no, we don't need to know about that yet, and no, we don't do this, and no, you can't have no wine, and then they're going to look at those things and think, well, why?
Yeah, but we're looking at parents being held responsible for the crimes of their children. Okay, so we've spoken on peer groups, smothering children, but does it come to a point, okay, you've smothered that child and you've not taught them about certain things, so does it come to a point that they don't know what's right and what's wrong then?
No, they do know what's right. I think, though, when it comes to responsibility, it depends on the type of parent you are as well.
Yeah.
Because there are other parents that are ridiculously liberal and just let their child do anything, and then those children go and burglarise someone and they say, no, not my Johnny.
Yeah.
Those parents should be held responsible for their children's crimes, yes.
Because the thing is, but still, really?
Yes. Because if you can't even accept that your child has done something wrong, you're irresponsible.
Because that means that the child won't be accountable.
Exactly.
They won't look at the accountability of the actions that they've done.
Exactly. So the parent should be held responsible for that child's actions. Because they're looking at you and thinking, well, if you don't even think it's wrong, then why am I getting in trouble for it?
Yeah. What are your thoughts out there, listeners? What do you think? Are parents to blame for the actions of their children? Should they be responsible for the crimes of their children? Give us a call, 07895 134 713. That's 07895 134 713. And if you're not in the chat room, come along and join us and join in on the conversation. So, me personally then, so we spoke a few weeks ago highlighting about the age where youngsters can be arrested, and the youngest age was 10 years old. Yeah. So if that's the case, if it's 10, is a 10-year-old understanding of or in his right mind to know what a crime is and what a crime isn't?
Do you know how I answer this question? If a 10-year-old cannot legally make a medical decision for themselves, why are they legally a criminal?
Because that's what the government say, that they can be arrested at 10.
But this is what I'm saying. If you're going to have one rule for one, if you're saying a child is someone under the age of 14 cannot make a medical decision, that means they're not legally competent to understand certain procedures and processes. Why are we saying that that same age can legally understand? I'm being devil's advocate here because you should know right from wrong. But why are we saying that that same age can legally be held accountable for shoplifting when their 16-year-old friend is doing it?
But you must know that if you go into a shop and take something, that it's not the right thing to do, Leish.
But their 16-year-old friend is doing it. It's a laugh. They thought it was a bit of fun. They didn't realise that they're going to get in trouble for it.
Come on.
Like it says there, children think that they're going to get away with it.
That's the point.
As a 12-year-old or a 10-year-old, oh yeah, my friend's in secondary school and he does it all the time and he never gets caught, and oh, that must mean it's all right. The person doesn't say anything. They're going to follow in that person's footsteps.
But if they know that they never get caught, then they must have that idea that it's wrong to go in a shop and just take something without paying for it.
They could be seeing it as a bit of fun. They don't know the severity of their actions. This is what I'm saying. I'm saying that as a 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old, do they understand the severity of their actions? The same way, like, do they understand the medical procedure that you're about to have? No, because your parent needs to sign this off. So do you legally understand the repercussions of your actions at 10? Or do you just think my 16-year-old friend that I look up to as a big brother is so fun, I'm just going to go and kick about with him for a couple of hours, and they so happen to rob a sweet shop and he was there, guilty by association.
Rob a sweet shop. Rob.
No, I know. That's me using it as an adult though. Yeah. But a child doesn't understand the repercussions of those actions.
Or just by
guilty
being
by
with
association.
A friend. Yeah. Because that's a whole other kind of ballpark as well, isn't it? That you can be guilty just through the peers or the friendships that you have.
But that 10-year-old will still get arrested. Is that fair? Is that the parent's responsibility because they didn't know where the child was? It goes deep. This question can be answered in so many different ways. That you can say yes, but then how do you justify yourself saying yes? And you can say no, but how do you justify no, the parent's not responsible, but the parent doesn't know where their child is, so...
But surely at 10 years old, a parent should have an idea of where their youngster is, right?
That's what you would think.
Yeah, what are your thoughts out there, chat room crew? Where do we draw the line when it comes to parent being responsible and the child being responsible for their actions? Because the article highlights is they can engage in underage drinking, vandalism, also possession, and under the influence of drugs. But then some young people commit much bigger crimes, such as felonies, breaking and entering into a house, grand theft auto, and even murder and rape. Because there are very young children that have killed their parents, that have done various other things. So are they in their right mind when they do that? Or are they not in their right mind when they do that?
I have a hard time with that one because I understand that there was one I was watching, I because you know I watch the True Crime channel, and there's one I was watching the other day where the young girl stabbed their mum to death. And it was a moment of, oh, you make me so angry, and they just grabbed and did that action. Right.
So was it the mum's fault that she made angry?
No, it wasn't the mum's fault. But in that moment of rage, that child is not able to understand what they're doing. They're lashing out at their mum, not realising that actually you are going to do this, your mum's going to be gone.
I understand. Okay, let's have a listen. We're going to take this call. Hello.
Good evening, ladies.
Good evening.
Hey there.
Hey.
JKGB.
Yeah, fabulous show as always.
Thank you.
Some lovely details, some facts, fun facts as well. Word of the day. Great. Keep it going. I'm just gonna briefly. I won't take too much of your time because I know you might have other people waiting to call, but I think as parents we have to instill some kind of moral compass in them. Some moral direction, some understanding of what's right and wrong. I agree with Alicia. Sometimes emotionally, educationally, they may not understand everything that's happening to them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if we're instilling some kind of moral compass in them, there's some points, whatever situation they may be, who they're with, they have to take on some responsibility. How much responsibility they have to take on is depending on what the crime is.
Yeah.
And what's happened. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes, like you said, Alicia said, it's guilty by association. So sometimes they're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But then
the wrong person.
But why are they with the wrong person? Why are they wrong people? But again, it's down to the moral compass that we instill as parents. And unfortunately, sometimes the moral compasses that we're instilling in our kids are not always directing them in the right direction. So as much as the child has to take responsibility, and I do agree, whatever situation they end up, they have to take some responsibility. I think those who are listening to this show need to look at, as parents, we got to look at ourselves as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And say, okay, all right, they might have ended up in a situation, but how has the moral compass and directions that I'm trying to direct them in, how have I managed that? How have I instilled that? And that's something we need to reflect on. Going on what's been said in the conversation so far, I think that's very important that we do reflect on what you're saying because it's so important.
Yeah. So as parents, then you've instilled a moral compass into your child. They perceive that they understand what's right and what's wrong, and then they go out and commit a crime. Let's say they go and help their friend burglarise a house, for instance. You've instilled that moral compass. Would it then still be the parent? Should the parent still be to blame because that child has made that choice?
Well, no, it's just something that you just said. It's perceived. It's what the child's perceived as the moral compass. Because we can tell kids things, but the way they perceive it might be different.
Yeah.
Because they're not just listening to our voice now. We're now saying that they're listening to other people's voices, and that's why that particular young person's got into that situation by burglarizing his house. He might have perceived what you're saying, but then what he's perceiving from his friend sounds a lot better.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? So the difference between what a child perceives and what they actually understand, that has to be clarified. And that's what, as parents, that's what we need to push down in them. That there is a difference between what people are perception and what you should understand. What they should understand is what I'm trying to say. That's the moral compass that we're trying to instill in them, is the understanding.
Yeah.
Because for every situation, there's not always a black and white. There's always a narrative within a situation, but it's not always clear.
So true.
It's not always going to be clear. So, and that's what we need to, as parents, we need to be clear on. we don't want them just to perceive what we're saying, but we really clearly want them to understand.
Yes. Thank you so much for calling, KJB.
Thank you.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for your time and thank you for having me on. Enjoy, I'm going to enjoy the rest of the show now.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Take care. See you
Thank
soon.
you.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
I know it's all well, obviously I've got quite young children, so I'm not even at the stage where, yes, I see certain children's behaviours rubbing off on my little girls sometimes, and I make statements. I'm like, well, I can see such and such in my house. Like, you do make statements, but then it's like what KJB said. We have to look at ourselves, and I find this is sometimes where I fall short in the sense that I have got a bit of fire in me when it comes to when I don't get listened to. I can get frustrated quite easily, especially when you're tired and you just want things to go how you have said they need to go. But as the children grow older, I can't have that fire. Well, I can have the fire, but I can't have that you must listen to me mentality and I'm going to talk and you're going to listen. Because if I'm always talking, then I'm never hearing what they have to say.
Yep.
And if you can't hear what they have to say, like what Dad said, you will never learn whether they understand what your meaning is.
So it's about listening more and having discussions about who their friends are, having discussions like these days. I don't think much 10-year-olds will go out there on their own, but I'm just making that assumption because possibly they do, and they can end up in whatever situations dependent on the people that they hanging out with, dependent on now we've got the 6 weeks holidays coming up, and youngsters get bored, and we do see a rise in crime at this stage throughout the 6 weeks.
I don't think that's a parent's problem either. I think that's a governmental problem where there's nothing for these young people to do.
Yeah.
But the parents have to go to work. They can't book the whole 6 weeks off on holiday.
Yeah.
To look after their children, but there's not a lot of programs in place that will help support parents, because it's not. I'm not talking about single parents. I'm talking about every single parent as well.
Yeah.
That wants to still support their children, but they have to go to work.
Yeah. Sorry, caller. Please call back. We're just holding the line and just finishing off the thought on what we were saying. But yeah.
It's just
right there.
It's a struggle. I think it's a struggle, especially in the holiday season, where some children are content at home. Some youngsters are content being in the house playing PlayStation all day, where others want to get out and go and play with their friends.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? That it just, and I think there's a lot of parents are out working at the same time. So, I mean, latchkey kids going home, they're at home all day by themselves, and they can get themselves into a bit of a bind situation because the parents aren't around to kind of oversee what they're doing, and hence they may get themselves into a bit of trouble.
But even still, so as well, if you don't have that open communication with your child, and instead of them calling and saying, "Oh, Mum, I'm just popping to my friend's house," or "I'm just going to go do a bit of shopping," there is no communication because they don't feel comfortable talking to you.
So they've told you
and they'll just
rules.
go out the house. Not even they've told you rules, they've told you nothing. They just leave the house and go and do what they want.
So we're asking people or listeners, we're asking you, should parents be held responsible for the crimes of their children? And we still obviously haven't reached any form of conclusion, because I think the article makes a really good point when it comes to conclusions on the matter, and it says it's a major problem that young people becoming adults never being held accountable. So it's the accountability and helping them to understand the accountability. Like you said, "Oh, not my Johnny." Well, Johnny should have recognised. You should have said, "Oh, Johnny, did you do that?" And then he should have been accountable for his actions.
Yeah. But I also feel like this article is a bit biased because it ends by saying it's not the parents' responsibility. So it's almost like, is it asking the question to make the statement, or is it being... Because it is, I'm sorry, it is some parents' responsibility. If your children are doing certain things, and the example you're setting as well makes a big difference. If you're going out there grafting and working hard, and then your children are seeing that, and you're instilling those, you know, good morals, like Dad was saying, in those children, and they still choose to rebel, then you've done all you can to make, you know, to not lead your children down that line. But if you have been that parent that's not really bothered, oh yeah, he can do what he wants, she can do what she wants, and you're kind of not really doing much with yourself, and they're just going to see, the children are going to see that, and they're not going to know, they aren't going to be able to tell what is right and what isn't right, because you've not definitively helped them see by your own actions what good paths are and what bad paths are.
And remember, we are talking from the point of a parent that's...
Hi, caller.
Tried to do the right thing. Yeah. Hi, caller. Hi there, girl. How are you doing?
Yeah, what are you saying, sis? You right?
Yes, my dear. What are your points on the question?
I can't really hear properly and everything anyway, so...
What's that?
We're a little bit behind.
Yeah, yes. Turn your radio down. We'll just have a conversation, then we'll turn it back up because we are delayed. There will be a delay. Yes. So what your points on that question about parents being accountable for the crimes of their children?
Well, I mean, I don't really think they should be. Parents should be held accountable. Like in some cases, yeah. You know, if you're growing up in a house where Fred West lives or something like that, then, you know, there's more chance that, you know, you're going to have, you know, certain issues from the beginning.
Yeah.
Your parents has been telling you that, you know, your daughter's under the pavement, under the pavestones or whatever, from the time, you know, that's not really a positive input of a parent, you know what I mean? But like, really and truly, parents, responsibility is to bring their children up from a young age, And children go through stages, They go through stages where you lift them up, you play with them, you tickle them, you run up and down with them, and then it comes to stage they go to school, School is where they're schooled, right? And basically, you know, the teachers and everything, it depends what class the teachers are in.
Yeah, and it depends on the teacher as well, would it not? If they...
what class the kids are in, you know what I mean? The kid likes that teacher, and they got a good report. The kid tends to do a lot better.
Yeah.
Any good parent would try and work with teachers and that anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Work with them, and they'll try and, you know, if there's an issue or whatever, you can get past it. But you know, children have got a lot to face these days.
Yeah.
You know, they're really kind of, you know,
it's a different time, isn't it? It's a different time for them.
It is a very totally different time when we grew up. I mean, even when we grew up, it was still, you know, it was very challenging. Yeah. But you know, we had a lot of things to do. We had, you know, we've done a lot of activities. We was a lot more adventurous. We never just had a computer to go home and sit down to. Not saying that that's what kids do. I'm all for computers. I'm all for phones and everything. But I believe that with everything, you have to kind of...
It's a balance, isn't it?
Have moderation with it.
Yeah. And
I'm all for it. But what I'm not for is the parents that are like, your kid ain't got a phone? What do you mean your kid ain't got a phone? What? What? Latest phone, this, that? No. This is where the parents' jobs do come in, you know what I mean? Like, and communication, especially, you know, most kids ain't got parents. They only got a parent, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, you know, it's a lot for a mother or a father, you know, who's just going out and looking after their children and, you know, trying to make ends meet, and, you know, they've got to juggle, you know, it's really helpful with, you know, it don't just take a mother and a father, or it takes a family to
it's a village, isn't it? It takes a village, as they always say.
You know, and this is where, you know, sometimes we might feel alone, like, oh, can I ask my brother? Can I ask my sister? But, you know, this is where, you know, everybody has to come together, especially in this time.
Absolutely. And it's even...
Because the kids now, they're going through a totally different side. Like, I don't get it. I'm confused myself as an adult. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What these kids have had to endure, right? So this again is where the parents take control. You know what I mean? It's not the news. It's not the TV. It's not the influences of. You know what I mean? This is when you're at home. This is the most important time. Child, do you understand?
Yeah.
Right. Even tell them, because there's teachers out there, that bully kids, that bully them, and do all kinds of. So the children have got so much obstacles to face, you know.
I hear you.
And, but ladies, lovely show and everything. I don't know. I can't even hear myself. I don't know.
You're sounding good.
Don't worry. It will go up on YouTube. You can get the replay.
Yeah.
All right, my darling.
We have to, as a family, and I understand it's not just your parents and whatever. Everyone has to look out for their nephews, nieces. You know what I mean? Grandparents, great grandparents, whatever. You know what I mean? We have to look at each other. You understand? And keep strong together, and, you know, don't be disillusioned by this confusion that's going on. You know what I mean? 2 weeks ago, you know, football was on. Nobody weren't talking about nothing else. You know what I mean? Right? But now cases are rising, whatever. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But everybody, one love. And I don't know how I sounded. Or anything.
You sound amazing. Thank you so much for your call, gal. Thanks so much for your call. Speak to you soon. Bye. And Gary's right. It's really about the schooling has a lot to do with it, in the sense of having that communication with the teachers, all that kind of stuff that's going on, in order to know. It's about the parents knowing what their youngsters are up to, and really supporting them in the things that they're doing. You know, sometimes, like I said, it's not parents, it's a parent that has to deal with everything, and that can be quite overwhelming as well. There's a lot of single parents out there trying to do their best to raise their kids, and it's a tough call.
And this is where there's one of my friends that I admire her so much. She had her son was quite young, and as a mother, I think she's just, as a person, I think she's an amazing woman. And she had to make such a difficult decision with her son because of, like, what Uncle Gary was saying, how the era and the time that we're living in, especially with our young black boys, you know, there's so much against them sometimes, that she had to make the decision that was best for her family and for her child. And, you know, he could turn around one day and say, well, you did this and blah, blah, blah. But because she is so open with him, and so I see their communication, their relationship, them as mother and son is so beautiful. I can hear myself. I can't.
Okay.
Yeah. I just see him being very appreciative of what she's done for him, and that's where, as parents, we have to kind of see the other examples of people who they've not struggled, but they've made challenging decisions. And those are the parents that when the child acts however they act, you can never turn around and say that's the parent's fault, because every single decision that they make is with that child in mind, their children in mind. And I think that's where we can say, is it the parent's fault? Have you been that parent that everything you do is with your child in mind. Every time you discipline them, every time you reprimand them, every time you praise them, every time you say, no, not my Johnny, is it with them in mind, in the sense that it's the best decision that you can make for them?
Yeah.
Because then those parents, they cannot be blamed for their children's faults.
It does come to a point that the choice of the child or the adolescent or the young person is the choice of that individual. So, no, Gary's right. Parents shouldn't be blamed for and people make mistakes as well. We've got to see, like you said, the 10-year-old that was in the shop with a friend that shoplifted and was guilty by association. That's a mistake of him choosing that person as a friend, as a peer, because then they've got their friend into trouble just by being in association with them. So it's again going back to what Kenny said about the moral compass, instilling that in your child and knowing that they understand it in order to make the right choices for themselves in the future. Unfortunately, some youngsters make the wrong choices, make the wrong friends, and that can have repercussions. But I think we could resoundingly say, unless a parent coerces their child into some form of crime, he says, come on son, do this together, then that's when they're accountable. That's when a parent should be blamed. Whereas on the other hand, maybe parents have set bad examples, but there are some youngsters that come from
very good backgrounds.
And have come from bad backgrounds and still make something of themselves and don't repeat the actions of their parents. So, I have to resoundingly say no. It's not the parent's fault unless they're coerced by the parent to do wrongdoing. Yeah, and dependent maybe on the age. So maybe 10-year-olds are not so morally sound. But yeah, that's my decision and that's my opinion and my choice to say no, it's not down to the parents.
I don't completely agree, but we know that we don't always agree on everything on the show because we have an opinion. But I think I hear what you're saying. I just think there are some times when no, the parent isn't to blame, sorry. But then there are those times when you have to, stop and look at the parent and be like, well, you kind of set them up to go down that route. To fail. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. It's not 100% yes. It's not 100% no. It's a
bit like Ted Bundy. I was thinking of that in that example. He had a good raising.
No, he didn't.
He didn't. All right.
His mum lied to him.
His mum what? Lied to him?
Lied to him from the birth. Because he was raised to believe that the man that raised him was his father.
Right.
And this is in no way condoning the behaviour of such an evil person. When he found out that man that he thought was his father wasn't his father, and when he found out that actually my mum doesn't actually know who my dad is, or it could possibly be my granddad, it's almost like a switch went off in his head, and the women that he went for were being punished for his mum's lies.
So again, it was his choice. We'll see y'all in 5. Did we always catch you, Lily, singing on the microphone, holding that long note? Amazing. We lost Bill Withers last year, and yes, he passed away last year. We lost a lot of great people.
Yes, we did.
Last year. So, Lily, what does the 10X rule say?
The 10X rule says... No, it's not on.
It's on.
The 10X rule says, have big goals and dreams. Successful people dream big and have immense goals. They are not realistic. They leave that to the masses who fight for leftovers. The second question of the 10X rule asks, how big are your goals and dreams? The middle class are taught to be realistic, whereas the successful think in terms of how excessively they can spread themselves. The greatest regret of my life is that I initially set targets and goals based on what was realistic rather than on giant radical thinking. Big think changes the world. It is what makes Facebook, Twitter, Google, or whatsoever comes next. Realistic thinking small goals and trivial dreams simply won't provide you with any motivation, and they'll land you smack dab in the middle of competing with the masses.
So I guess the big goal here, we could say, is to raise our youngsters to be good, upstanding citizens, whatever that is.
That's not a big goal. That's a realistic goal.
That's realistic.
So the big goal would be that our children, our next generation, are the ones that bring about all the change.
Yeah.
And all these moments of when football and Lewis Hamilton, they're eradicating it.
Yeah.
Because
to be in that change.
That change is a big arcs. But, you know,
I don't think it's impossible. Like I said, it's each individual one by one. And we can't be there all the time for our kids. We don't know what they're doing all the time. We don't know where they are all the time. But to have the thought and the idea that whatever decisions and choices they make, that they are going to be that change in the world.
Yeah.
That makes that difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to be that change in the world that makes a difference and be the best possible person we can be in any given moment. Yeah?
Yeah, I agree.
So I think that's a good goal to have, to be better than we were today, that we are greater tomorrow. Yeah, so in the chat room or the chat box, Gal has highlighted that you do your best, but many lessons to learn on the life journey. And that's so true. There are so many lessons to learn as well out coming from good, want to be bad. So sometimes youngsters, they come from good families, but they choose
the wrong path. Yeah.
You know? And are there any others there, Lily?
I like that word. If you know your history, you will know where you're coming from. So we always say we never look back, do we? Unless we're going to evaluate where we're going to. And it's true. If you know where you came from, then your journey ahead can be a bit clearer. You know, this is where I've been, this is where I don't really want to go back to, and this is where I'm going to be. You're looking forward. And then Nana says, go on, my family, training the youth takes a village.
It does.
With positive teachers, and this is very true. And I want to shout out, I don't know if she's listening today, I want to say a big congratulations to Jill, whose daughter got a head of year 12 job today.
Oh, well done.
So she got a lovely promotion there. Another one of our beautiful black sisters leading the youth.
There you
and
go.
Being very, very supportive in her new job role as well.
And Jackie Gold, she's very good in that regard as well when it comes to education. J Gold is the platform that she's on, and she's an amazing educator as well. So kudos to everyone that's trying to elevate our youngsters to become their greatest and better selves as well. And that's what it is. It's us being in positions that can help our youngsters to grow and to have that mindset for success. And the thing is, I think a lot of our youngsters do. A lot of our youngsters do. So never think that we are a minority, because it's a majority of us that are raising some really level-headed young people. And sometimes our little ones make mistakes, but we still have to be supporting them, even in the mistakes maybe that they've made, to still be greater and come out looking with a positive trail of thought and mindset as well.
Yes.
So just one more thought. And Phil Baxter, he says it's a difficult one. Certainly good parenting can affect children's thinking. If the parents give a bad example or just don't care, they could be blamed. If they take responsibility and do their best, it isn't fair to blame them, except maybe if they don't seek help, if they can't cope. So it's coping, like we spoke of, single parents and so forth. But some single parents do amazingly as well. You spoke on your friend.
Some two-parent households can't cope.
So. Exactly. So we'll leave it with you, listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Following me will be DJ Laro from 8 till 10. Please check the schedule. Charlie Muir and Darnell the therapist on tomorrow evening. Yes, we've had a lovely time with you. Thank you, callers, for calling in. And thank you for always supporting us as well. Chatroom crew, tuning crew, worldwide crew, and even you silent listeners out there. We thank you so much for your support. And I guess all we have left to say, Lily, is we will see y'all on the other side. Take care.